I was in hot Tucson last week seeing my first nephew, and I'm back in the saddle. Going to get back to some emails. I was hoping to do some while I was in Tucson, didn't get to it. So let's get right to it today. First up out of the sack is Bill in Kentucky, and he writes that this is not a question, but something that could have implications for Linux users. I'm going to scroll up there so you can see the link that Bill has left us. And Bill, thanks for keeping us informed on that issue. Helena writes that she's having trouble deleting old email addresses on her computer. I'm not sure what kind of problem she's having. She says that she gets a message saying your mailbox is busy, try again later. You didn't let me know if you're using online email, whether it's AOL, Outlook Express. Helena, I need more information in order to answer this question accurately, so I'm going to ask you to write back so I can give you more information. Brenda has an interesting question here about her Dell computer purchased in 2000. That's Windows Millennium Edition year there. And that's a pretty old computer to be using an iPod. And she has old USB ports. She's been told that she probably needs to put in some high-speed USB 2.0 ports into her computer. And you can do that. You can go out and buy. In fact, I did that today for a client that I've got to go see. And it looks something like this. This is a PCI expansion card, USB 2.0 card, and all you do is you plug it into the back of your computer. You got to open up your computer, shut it off first, put it in the back of your computer, and then you can have USB 2.0. But in your case, I really think, Brenda, and don't tell people this very often, but I think you need a new PC. And the reason why is your needs have outgrown your computer. And that's the only time I recommend new computers is when your needs outgrow what your computer can do. And in your case, I think you've reached that point, Brenda. You can do a lot of upgrading, put in that little card and do some things like that, but I still believe you're going to have some problems if you don't get yourself a newer computer to run your music and your iPod. Here's a question from Anne about AVG and Firefox, and she said that before using AVG she was able to use Firefox as a browser, but since she updated her AVG to AVG 8, she's having a problem with the server not being found. What I would do in your case is uninstall AVG, go to my website, helpmerick.com, search for AVG 8 upgrade, and follow the exact steps that I have in that video and in the steps outlined there for you to properly install AVG, because I've got a feeling you may have downloaded and installed some extra parts of AVG you don't need that's blocking your Firefox. Good luck, Ann. Marty's trying to open up Word and Excel files, and the other day when he had some downtime on his internet, he said it was taking up to 60 seconds to open up Word and Excel files. Once the internet came back up, everything opened up normally. I'm wondering if you're using the Office 2007, Marty, which is very web integrated, and I think it looks to the web for updates and other things every time you try to start your computer. Now, the other thing that could be happening, and this goes back to my AVG question we just talked about with Ann in the last email, go to my website, follow those steps exclusively. You want to get to a step when you're installing AVG where it says custom, and you want to go into that and disable the link scanner, and if you're using Microsoft Office, also disable the Office plugin with AVG, and those two things could be interfering with how you're opening up your documents. Boy, people do love their animals. We have a great thread on our website about the Cameroon Pet Scams. There's more than just Cameroon, but Adam wrote about this many, many months ago, and it continues to be a real popular thread. And Elaine writes, how can you find out about airlines and whether they're legit? She's looking for Cam Air Pet Services. Now, I may be just too cynical, but when I see something like that, that just reeks of scam and reeks of fake to me. And I think that, Elaine, you got to separate yourself from your love for your dog. Go out and find a reputable dealer and buy your dog. The reason you can't find any information on that particular pet service or global air service is because there is no such thing. These people are scamming you. Don't be looking at those ads. Go find a reputable pet person and go from there. Here's a message from a fan of our call-in talk show, George. George says he misses our old Saturday shows and that he gets confused by my website. And George, I'm not sure what to tell you. He thinks that on the comment section, sometimes it's confusing on finding out who's replying to who. When you click on a comment, it's going to be on the page where the other comments related to that story or related to that article are going to be, George, and it's all there. Thanks for writing in, George. Henry has a two-part question, I believe. First part question is he has two add or move icons on his computer. My feeling is one of them is a shortcut, Henry. Henry, look at your two icons, and if you see that one of them has this little arrow in the lower left-hand corner, that's a shortcut, and that one is safe to delete. You won't be able to delete the other one because the other one is the original icon in the control panel, and you won't be able to get rid of it. But if this has this little shortcut icon here, then you can safely get rid of it. And the second part of the question is he wants to know how to make a backup of his computer on a DVD or CD. If you have a Compaq, a Hewlett-Packard, some Gateway computers, Acer is another computer company that does this, there oftentimes is a system recovery tool that you'll find under programs that allow you to make recovery CDs or DVDs. Otherwise, what you should have is some backup CDs of the programs and things like that, and then it's up to you to back up your data on a regular basis using any number of methods. USB drives, hard drives, online backup is getting to be one of my favorite ways to do it as well. David's writing in about a question he has regarding an iTunes update that had Apple Safari come alongside of it for his Windows computer. Safari is the browser that has been a long-time browser of the Mac world, the Macintosh and Apple, and they recently, about less than a year ago, released a Windows version. It works fine overall on Windows. They had a few bumps and bruises when they initially released it. My favorite still is Mozilla Firefox. Jack has a question about saving old computers. He's got old computers that he's saved after he's upgraded to new ones and wondering what kind of things he can do to put those old computers to work. And you're right, there's a lot of good things you can do. One is if you have a high-speed internet connection, you could put an Ethernet card if one of them doesn't have one, put Linux on it or something that's very safe, and then set it up as just an internet-only terminal in your guest bedroom or maybe in your living room or some other public place in the house where people want to come in that are visiting. They want to look something up or check their email, they can do that. And you mentioned about using remote control and automation to control lights and curtains and things like that. There are things you can do. If you just look up home automation in Google, you'll find lots of stuff on that. Another thing people will use an old computer for is a server, where in other words you put it up again with Linux or some other safe operating system, set it up on your router just with the box and a keyboard, and put all your files there. It could be a file server to feed the rest of your computers, music, photos, things like that. Vicki in Parsons, Tennessee, I think has a question that is overlapping. She says she can't afford memory for her computer because no one accepts money orders through the mail, and she's wondering about what she can do to put files on disks to free up space for her computer. I think what you need to do, if you have a Windows XP computer, it's probably not the hard drive that's full. The way you can tell if your hard drive is full is go to My Computer first, right-click on your hard drive, go to Properties. After you right-click on your hard drive and then click Properties, you'll get a little pie chart that looks like what I have on the screen here, telling you how much free disk space you have versus how much you're being used. And if you have anything above, say, 10 gigabytes or even 8 gigabytes of free space, you're going to be okay for a while. And that's different than memory for your computer to run your computer, which is RAM. And if that's what you're thinking about, that is a whole different issue, and we can approach that if that's the question. But take a look at this and see how much actual hard drive space you have left. You'll probably be surprised that you have plenty of it available. And if you do need to free up space, go buy an external hard drive. They're pretty inexpensive today, usually well under $100, or even less expensive, get a few flash drives. I'm going to finish off with this question from Tony about his music on a floppy disk with a Roland piano. When he tries to play the floppy on his computer, it will not play. He says, what am I doing wrong and how can I fix it? With my very limited knowledge about the way pianos and organs work with floppy disks, it's mainly to record MIDI music. And you have to have a MIDI player, MIDI, to be able to actually work with those files. Sometimes you're going to have to go back to the manufacturer's website and download a little program that will convert the music that you're recording on your organ or your piano into something your PC will understand. So give that a try as well by going to the manufacturer's website. Thanks everybody for writing. I'll be back again soon with some more email answers to your questions.